ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 6th of August, 2024. And the 6th of August is a rather significant day in history. Perilously, infamously, tragically, but maybe necessary. On August 6th, 1945, the first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima. And obviously the age of mass destruction, mass war, the atomic age, the Cold War, and all of the things that plagued much of our world began on August 6th, 1945. And I don't know how it worked out, but on August 6th, 1966, a very young girl and a very foolish young man, hardly a man, probably more of a boy, got married. And they have survived so far. So the story is, what are some of your thoughts when you've been married for 58 years? Well, I'll talk briefly about that, and then I will ask you to perhaps share some of your long-term stories with me. I'm Stan Houston. The program is interesting, maybe intriguing, maybe a little bit inspiring ideas, and the program begins right now. When people ask us from time to time, well, you certainly must have been quite young when you got married. And the answer is, yes, we were quite young. We were really young and really stupid. And as my wife said today, when I said to her, "Happy anniversary," she looked up and said, "Yeah. 58 years. How in the world did that happen?" Well, first of all, how did we get so old? And how did we survive? Because there were times when it looked like we weren't. And today I shared that news with my banker, and she was there with their assistant, and of course they said, well, you always have to ask the proverbial question, which is, what are the secrets? And there's a part of me that wanted to say, well, sometimes the secret is just keeping your mouth shut and keeping the secrets. And sometimes making sure that there are no secrets. Primarily, a good marriage probably has three things. It made it. And both persons are relatively glad that they did it, and they're still married. Secondly, the fact that you bring children into the world, and it's oftentimes that preservation that keeps you going, knowing that that's what it was all about. And taking care of children, and then, of course, grandchildren. Those tend to be things that kind of keep a marriage together. Probably then when you're in the later stages, it is finding perhaps that you share a common faith, that there is something about the transcendence and the similarity of beliefs that probably just keep you together, even through some of the most challenging times. The fact that you have a good family that loves and supports you. I remember when Karen's father knew that we were going through a really bad time, he said, "I will love both of you no matter what. No matter what, I will love both of you. But I hate divorce, because I know what it could do to you." And I remember my wife saying, well, maybe we better make this work. And Oftentimes it was just that determination that, we're going to make this work. And then there were times when we simply said, it's easier to live together and better to live together than to live apart. And then sometimes you actually realize that you might have only been in like when you got married, and of course you wanted to get married and make love, have sex. But sometimes it's much later that you realize how deeply and profoundly deeply that you love your partner. I think that's about all I have to say. As I oftentimes say when I do a lot of performance coaching, I say, remember, I'm a business performance coach. I'm a marketing coach. I'm not a counselor, and I'm certainly not a marriage counselor. Not qualified to do that. But there we go. So I would love, again, to hear some stories from people who, maybe you don't have a secret, but perhaps you have a little wisdom, insight, and truth about what makes life work. What makes life work better. And that's a lot what this program is all about. Now, what I want to do is just today, I kind of did a formal resurrection of an idea which we created a number of years ago. Karen and I, in one of our better times, put together where we were in Arizona, and we were living in one of those, Arizona upper scale, not high luxury gated scale, but, kind of the next one down, our community. Nice place in Arizona, and we have many good years there before we relocated for daughter and grandson in Carolina. And we decided that we would like to start a church that was a lot more convenient. And so we did. And we got a group of people together, and we decided that it would be more fun rather than having to drive 5, 10, 15 miles down to any other churches. Why don't we see if we can have our own? And now, because it's all kinds of old people, we could have the music and the stuff that we wanted, kind of for the old timers. And eventually we called it the Encore Congregation because we're kind of coming back and doing it again. And we arranged that we would have our own service and our own time church. And we wouldn't make it too long. When you're older, you got to keep it short enough, There's all kinds of reasons for that. And we had some wonderful veteran, senior, wise, and experienced and wonderful, our age and stage retired pastors who, of course, were not really retired. They loved being a part of that. And so we arranged that at the country club that we could, at 9 o'clock in the morning, they would give us a real good rate because nobody else wanted to do anything at 9 o'clock in the morning. So we got a real good rate, and we met in the ballroom. And it was where I enjoyed saying that we had a church that was just exactly where a church should be. A church should be on the dance floor. That's right, on the dance floor between the bar and the first tee. And that's where it was. Good times. That was a number of years ago, 7, 8, 9 years ago, and it's still going very, very strong. Obviously, many people have moved on, many people have passed on, but it was a place that was truly a sweet place. Not a lot of the old politics that usually go into organizations. It was a simple place. What we did is we made a point of not taking ourselves too seriously. There were not many power struggles there. We prayed for our children and our grandchildren a lot. And then we, as others became sick, and one of the favorite expressions of one of the really classic women. When she was describing who we were and what we are, she said, what we have to remember, we tell our children and our grandchildren and each other that we weren't always old, sick, and poor. And actually, once we got into it, we found out, as we would often find out, is that the people who were there, many of them had made some very significant accomplishments. And were now comfortably finding their way. But they had stories to tell. Oh, did they have stories to tell? Not all of them we could tell right now, or could they tell in church, but stories to tell and situations to share. And it became very much of a loving place. Good kind of company when you're getting old, when you've lost a spouse, when you know you're going to die soon. And that's the kind of place we created. That got me to think, we really ought to do this in many places. And so we took the name based on a friend who tried the similar experiment. We called it Encore. And the idea of Encore was that, hey, you've been on stage, but, you've been called back. Maybe there's a new thing to do. Maybe there's a new project. Maybe we could really still accomplish something. We were reminded that Michelangelo did probably his best work between the ages of 75 and 89. And that sometimes one of the reasons why the people who are examining those things are not sure whether that truly is a Michelangelo, an authentic one, it could be that it was actually not done by Michelangelo, but by one of his young students, who wasn't quite that good yet, but of course was modeling and very much, doing what the master had taught them, usually a him or her, to do. And so we thought, let's think about not only having a church service, but maybe an organization which helps us fully live out more joyfully and more fully, and to realize that we're not here just to get old and die. We are here to perform in our encore. And so we started that a few years ago. We'd had the church for a while and then decided, I guess that's what we're doing. Then, of course, COVID hit and blew all the things apart right now we're finally beginning to put things back together. And so with this putting things back together, a number of us had said, we need to restore an encore hour. We'll meet at 5 o'clock on Saturday night at our homes, in the home. Maybe a church will allow us to come, and we will truly live, worship, and sing and do it our way. That doesn't mean the younger people who rock and roll are doing it wrong. It just means that we're going to do it our way. And the stories and illustrations and the memories will be ones that we have and can share with others. So that's where I'm at on this August 6th, 2024. Karen and I are working out where, we are fortunate. We're in pretty good health. And we have survived both the triumphs and the travails of marriage. It hasn't been easy at all. Very difficult times. Sometimes almost losing times. But now it's good. And we're going to make it. And as we say with it, it's not a record, but it's above average. And we'll take it that. And in effect, we can say we have hope, and in the words of a famous letter, you know what? We've conquered a lot. And in fact, we are more than conquerors. And that's what we're called to be. I'm done. There we go. Just 14, 15 minutes of an old man rambling about the fact that he has been very, very blessed to have spent many, many years with a wonderful, beautiful, brave, and courageous woman. Her name is Karen, and she says, "But I'm a nice Karen." And she is indeed. She's one of the nicest persons in the whole wide world. And I don't deserve her. But by God's grace, I have her. And I salute her and love her. Thank you for listening. I would love to hear your story. And if this has been encouraging to you, share it with others. Reach out to me. Perhaps I do have some wisdom to share. StanHouston@gmail.com. StanHouston@gmail.com. We'll enjoy the evening, and we'll be back. All the best and blessings to you, and may you live long and prosper. And if you're married, may it do the same as you. Bye for now.